So let's go back to March 2026.
Right, when the news first broke.
Exactly. Spain's World Cup winning captain, Rodri, basically publicly signals he wants to join Real Madrid.
And the whole football world just assumes it's a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, the ink on the headlines is barely dry. But Madrid, they just drag their feet.
For months, actually. Just haggling.
Right. Haggling over the price until they basically watch him walk straight into the arms of Barcelona.
Which is just a masterclass in how a front office's hesitation can, completely derail a sporting project.
It really is. So for this deep dive, our mission for you today is to unpack this whole timeline based on the reports we've gathered. We are mapping out this crazy summer transfer hijack.
And we will also analyze the tactical reasons why Barcelona is actually the ultimate destination for the world's premier Noble Six.
Yeah, let's start with Madrid's breakdown. So back in the spring, Manchester City wanted, 75 to 80 million euros?
Yeah, a firm 75 to 80 million. But Florentino Perez counters with a massive lowball offer of just 50 million.
Wait, just 50 million? Why so low?
Well, Perez had some legitimate red flags on his desk. I mean, Rodri is 30, and he's staring down impending back surgery.
Oh, wow. Especially right after that previous ACL injury. That makes sense.
Exactly. But the deeper issue in the source material is actually boardroom politics.
Right, because of Enrique Riquelme.
Yeah, a rival presidential candidate who heavily leveraged Rodri's potential signing as the centerpiece of his own election campaign.
Oh, so Perez didn't want to spend massive capital to basically buy the face of his rival's platform.
Precisely. So he decides to freeze the market, dragging things out to force City's price down.
It's basically like haggling with a coupon over a luxury item, and you take so long that someone else just buys it out from under you.
That is exactly what happened. They totally underestimated Rodri's dwindling patience.
Which opened the door for Barcelona, right? Deco and Hansi Flick just swoop right in.
Yeah, and they didn't just bring a contract, they brought a complete tactical vision.
Plus, they had Rodri's Spanish national teammates like Lamine Yamal and Pedri actively recruiting him.
Right. While Madrid is sending lowball faxes to Manchester, Flick is reportedly breaking down game film with Rodri's camp.
Showing him exactly how Madrid's system would expose his physical limitations.
Exactly. It wasn't just a player getting frustrated and switching sides out of spite. It was a calculated decision based on the harsh realities of how both teams actually operate on the pitch.
But wait, let me push back a bit on that based on the sources. Looking at Jose Mourinho's setup at Madrid, his whole system revolves around a 4-2-3-1 formation.
Right.
So doesn't he desperately need a world-class node to anchor that midfield, especially with guys like Tchouaméni rumored to be leaving?
I mean, on paper, yes, Mourinho needs a defensive anchor. But you have to look at the underlying mechanics of how Madrid defends and transitions.
Right. It's all high-speed, chaotic transition play.
Exactly. They rely on high-energy ball carriers to instantly feed explosive forwards like Mbappe and Vinicius.
So the holding midfielder has to cover massive amounts of lateral ground just to sweep up counterattacks.
Yeah, it's like a high-speed transit system where the Nurse 6 is the primary engine, forcing a 30-year-old recovering from major knee and back surgeries to be that engine.
It's just a recipe for physical burnout.
Exactly. But Barcelona offers a completely different environment.
Because Hansi Flick uses that aggressively high defensive line.
Right. And to survive with a high line, you don't need a midfielder who can sprint backward to recover. You need someone with elite spatial awareness.
Someone who cuts off the passing lanes before the counterattack even starts, which is Rodri's absolute superpower.
Exactly. He relies on anticipation, not raw pace. And Barcelona's possessional structure, which hovers around 69 or 70%.
Compared to Madrid's, 59%?
Yeah. So in Flick's double pivot, Rodri can act more like an air traffic controller in a tight central zone.
Dictating the tempo, breaking the press, and shielding the defense without having to engage in endless foot races.
It's an ecosystem perfectly designed to protect his legs while maximizing his football IQ. Plus, it provides perfect stabilizing cover for an injured Frenkie de Jong.
Makes total sense. So the domino has finally fallen. Rodri's agent has officially informed Madrid's camp that the decision is made.
He is heading to Camp Nou. But this hijack leaves us with a massive unanswered question.
Right, the finances. Because Barcelona's opening bid to City was reported at only 45 million euros, and City hasn't budged from their 80 million valuation.
And with Barcelona's well-documented salary cap struggles and lack of liquid capital, they have to find that money somewhere.
Which leads us to a final provocative thought for you to explore as this drama moves into its final phase. To pull off a statement signing of this magnitude and actually pay the massive transfer fee, which current superstar will Barcelona be forced to sacrifice?
Welcome to the debate. When we look at a football pitch, from the stands, it looks like this perfectly measured tactical grid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But step into the boardroom during a transfer window, and that pristine green grass turns into a very messy ledger. Today we're dissecting the transfer that just shook European football to its core.
Oh, massive news.
Right. World Cup Golden Ball winner Rodri's shocking decision to join Barcelona over Real Madrid, leaving Manchester City. We are asking one central question today. Was Rodri's destination determined by a superior tactical fit at Barcelona, or was it the result of a financial and managerial breakdown engineered by Real Madrid's board? I'm arguing this move is fundamentally about tactical synergy and sporting projects.
And I'm looking straight at the accounting. I mean, the whiteboard is great, but this was a pure financial collapse driven by Florentino Perez's valuation of the player.
Well, let's look at the mechanics on the pitch first. Jose Mourinho's transition-heavy 4-2-3-1 at Real Madrid. It relies on bypassing the midfield in under 3 seconds. You need dynamic box-to-box runners who can immediately feed Vinicius and Mbappe in space.
Sure, speed is completely key there.
Exactly. If you put Rodri in there, his instinct is to put his foot on the ball, dictate the tempo, and let the team settle. He actively kills the very transition Mourinho is trying to create. Meanwhile, Hansi Flick's system at Barcelona averaged, 69% possession last season?
Yeah, something around there.
Right. And Flick uses a high defensive line that requires a metronome to recycle the ball under pressure. A guy who just attempted 811 passes at the World Cup. I mean, it's a perfect lock-and-key fit.
But tactical needs didn't kill this deal. City's accounting did. I mean, Madrid had this transfer practically done until Florentino Perez explicitly froze the talks.
Did they really have it done, though?
They did. City wanted between 75 and 80 million euros. Perez offered 50. Why? Because you're talking about a 30-year-old with impending back surgery.
Well, the back surgery is a factor, sure.
It's a huge factor from an amortization standpoint. A 30-year-old gives you zero resale value at the end of a 4-year contract. If his back fails, you're eating that entire fee. It wasn't about Mourinho's transition speed. It was about Paris looking at the balance sheet and saying, the risk ruins the math.
Okay, but if it's purely about the balance sheet, explain this. Why did Rodri's agent explicitly come out and cite Hansi Flick's project, plus the draw of playing with Pedri, Gavi, and Yamal as the deciding factors?
PR. That is pure PR.
You really think so?
Absolutely. How does tactical fit matter when the Madrid deal collapsed first? I mean, if Paris hadn't sent Joni Calava to force that massive discount, isn't Rodri holding up a white Madrid shirt right now? The player agreement was essentially finished before the board stepped in.
But do you think the board acts in a vacuum? If you're a Madrid fan listening to this, you have to ask why Perez wouldn't just pay the 80 million for the Ballon d'Or winner.
Because it's bad business.
No, because Madrid's shift to transition play fundamentally altered their financial risk tolerance. Why overpay for a possession anchor when the manager's system demands a completely different profile? The tactics inform the valuation.
I disagree. 80 million is 80 million. Even Barcelona hit that exact same financial wall.
Right, they struggled initially.
Exactly. City immediately rejected Barca's opening bid of 45 million euros. Doesn't that prove the ultimate barrier in modern football isn't, drawing up a whiteboard to see who fits where? It's physically meeting the asking price?
But Barcelona eventually found the leverage to make it work because the tactical incentive was there. Madrid walked away because the tactical incentive wasn't strong enough to justify the financial risk of his back surgery.
No, they walked away because a 30-year-old with a bad back at 80 million wrecks your amortization schedule for half a decade.
I mean, the tactics only matter if the check clears first. Well, we can go back and forth on the timeline, but once the contrast in these projects became clear, Barcelona was the destination Rodri pushed for. Still, stepping back, no matter how we weigh the ledger versus the tactics, we both agree on the fallout.
Oh, definitely. Rodri is the premier number 6 in world football, and his departure from City completely alters the balance of power in La Liga.
Absolutely. It's a seismic shift. And I think it highlights how incredibly complex modern megadeals are. You can't just have the money, and you can't just have the tactics. To land a Ballon d'Or level talent, boardroom economics and tactical philosophy have to align perfectly.
Very true. Well, we'll leave it to our listeners to decide which factor truly drove this historic transfer. But the next time you see that perfect geometric grid on the pitch, just remember how messy the boardroom ledger had to get to put those pieces in place.